Jaxon was a poor boy who came from a struggling family. His father and brother fell very sick one day, and sadly they both passed away. This left Jaxon with a big responsibility to take care of his mother and younger sister, Emma. Even though life was very hard for Jaxon, he stayed strong. He made a promise to his mother. She always told him to study hard and never give up, no matter what. Jaxon wanted to make her proud, so he worked hard every day to improve his life. Jaxon decided that learning English would open new doors for him. He believed it would help him find better opportunities in the future. Even though he didn't have many resources, he studied old English books. Every day he practiced reading and writing, even if he was tired from working different jobs. These jobs were tough, but Jaxon needed the money to support his family. The loneliness weighed on Jaxon at times. He missed his father and brother very much, but he also felt sad because of something else. He had lost the love of his life. Her name was Mia. Mia loved Jaxon too, but her parents didn't approve of their relationship. They made her stay away from him. This broke Jaxon's heart, but he respected her parents' wishes. Despite everything, Jaxon never lost hope. He believed that his hard work would pay off one day. He kept studying, practicing, and working hard. Every time life knocked him down, he got back up. He stayed focused on his goals, and he never stopped believing in a better future for himself and his family. As Jaxon continued to push forward, he faced new challenges. The small town where he lived didn't offer many opportunities for someone with dreams as big as his. He knew that if he wanted to truly improve his situation, he would have to venture out of his comfort zone. One evening, as he sat with his mother, she said, "Jaxon, don't let fear stop you. You're stronger than you know. If you need to go to find a better life, you should do it." Her words echoed in his mind for days. With a heavy heart, Jaxon realized that it might be time to leave home, not just to better his own future, but to provide a stable life for Emma and his mother. After months of saving every penny he could, Jaxon made the decision to move to the city. He said goodbye to the small town that had been his home all his life, knowing that the road ahead would be difficult. The city was overwhelming at first. Tall buildings, busy streets, and people everywhere. It was unlike anything Jaxon had ever experienced, but he didn't let it intimidate him. He found a tiny room to rent and took on several odd jobs, from washing dishes at a restaurant to delivering newspapers in the early mornings. His days were long, but Jaxon didn't mind the exhaustion. He was focused on his dream of learning and building a better future. In between his jobs, Jaxon attended free English classes at the local community center. His passion for learning impressed his teacher, Mrs. Williams, who saw great potential in him. "You've got something special, Jaxon," she told him one day. "Your determination will take you far. Keep pushing yourself." Jaxon took her words to heart. He studied even harder, and soon his English improved drastically. He started applying for better jobs, ones that required him to use the language skills he had worked so hard to develop. After several months of searching, Jaxon finally landed a position as an assistant at a small company. Though the pay wasn't great, it was a step in the right direction. For the first time, Jaxon felt like his efforts were paying off. He sent money home regularly to support his mother and Emma, who were incredibly proud of him. One evening, while walking home from work, Jaxon heard someone call his name. He turned around and was stunned to see Mia standing there. She looked different, more mature, yet still just as beautiful as he remembered. "Mia?" Jaxon couldn't believe his eyes. Mia explained that she had moved to the city too, after convincing her parents to let her pursue her own path. "I've thought about you so much," she admitted, her voice soft. "I've missed you, Jaxon." Jackson's heart raced. He had missed her too, but he had always respected her parents' decision. Now, seeing her in front of him again, all those old feelings came rushing back. Over the next few weeks, Jaxon and Mia spent more time together. They reconnected, sharing stories about their struggles and dreams. Mia was working as a teacher's assistant while finishing her degree, and she admired Jackson's perseverance. "You never gave up," she said one night. "That's what I've always loved about you." With Mia back in his life, Jaxon felt a renewed sense of hope. He continued working hard at his job, but now he also allowed himself to dream about a future with her. The two supported each other through the ups and downs, each one understanding the sacrifices they had made to get to where they were. As the months passed, Jackson's hard work paid off even more. He received a promotion at his job, which allowed him to save more money for his family. He was finally in a position where he could provide stability not just for himself, but also for the people he loved. Jaxon returned to his hometown one day, surprising his mother and Emma with the news that he had saved enough money to move them to the city. "I've built a life for us there," he told them, his eyes shining with pride. "We can finally be together again." His mother smiled through her tears, and Emma hugged him tightly. "You've done it, Jaxon," she whispered. "You've made our dreams come true." Jackson's decision to bring his mother and Emma to the city was met with excitement, but it wasn't without its challenges. The transition from their quiet town to the bustling city life was overwhelming for them at first. Jackson's mother, who had always lived in the countryside, found it difficult to adjust to the noise and pace of urban living. Emma, on the other hand, was thrilled by the new opportunities, especially the schools and libraries that were far more advanced than those back home. Jaxon rented a small but comfortable apartment for the three of them. Every day he juggled his work responsibilities, caring for his family, and continuing his personal studies. His days were packed, but he didn't mind. Seeing the happiness on his mother's face and Emma's eagerness to learn made it all worth it. As for his relationship with Mia, it grew stronger by the day. The two supported each other in every aspect of life. Mia's warmth and understanding helped Jaxon through tough times, while Jackson's determination inspired Mia to chase her own dreams more fiercely. They became each other's anchor, a source of strength and comfort. One evening, after a long day at work, Jaxon sat down with Mia and his family. "I've been thinking about the future," Jaxon began. "I don't just want to survive in this city. I want to thrive. I want to start something of my own, something that can help others who are struggling like we once did." His mother smiled proudly. "You've come so far, Jaxon. Whatever you set your mind to, I know you'll succeed." Emma nodded eagerly, always looking up to her older brother. "You can do it, Jaxon. You always figure things out." With the encouragement of his loved ones, Jaxon started planning his next big move. He had an idea to open a small tutoring center where he could teach English to others who, like him, had struggled to find opportunities. He knew firsthand how important language skills were for building a better life, and he wanted to share that knowledge with people from disadvantaged backgrounds. It wasn't easy. Jaxon spent months researching, saving, and preparing to launch his business. Mia helped him with the administrative side, using the skills she had developed in her job. Together, they made a great team. Finally, the day came when Jackson's tutoring center, which he named Hope Academy, opened its doors. It was a modest space, but it was filled with love and determination. Word spread quickly about the new place where people could come to learn English for free or at a low cost. Soon, the center was buzzing with activity. Jaxon taught classes in the evenings while still managing his day job. One of his first students was a young boy named Suraj, who reminded Jaxon of himself. Suraj came from a struggling family and had big dreams, but his lack of education held him back. Jaxon took him under his wing, not only teaching him English, but also encouraging him to believe in his own potential. Suraj quickly became one of Jackson's most dedicated students. The success of Hope Academy brought Jaxon a new sense of fulfillment. Every time one of his students succeeded, whether it was getting a better job, passing an exam, or simply gaining confidence in their abilities, he felt a deep sense of pride. He was giving back to the community in a way he had always dreamed of. As the years passed, Jackson's life transformed. His tutoring center grew, attracting more students and even volunteers who believed in his mission. Mia stood by his side through it all, and the two of them eventually got married in a small, intimate ceremony. They shared a vision of helping others, and together they worked to make that vision a reality. Jackson's mother and Emma thrived in the city as well. His mother found joy in the simple things, like gardening on their apartment balcony, and Emma excelled in school, eventually going to university, something she had only once dreamed of. Jaxon often looked back on the difficult path that had brought him to this point. He had lost his father and brother, worked hard through unimaginable struggles, and faced countless obstacles. But through it all, he had never given up on his dreams. And now, not only had he built a better life for himself and his family, but he was also helping others do the same. One evening, as he stood outside Hope Academy, watching the students leave after another successful class, Jaxon felt a deep sense of peace. He had fulfilled his promise to his mother to never give up, and in doing so, he had created a legacy of hope for others to follow. As the years continued to pass, Jackson's life became a true reflection of resilience and dedication. Hope Academy was no longer just a small tutoring center. It had grown into a beacon of opportunity for people of all ages from various walks of life. Jackson's dream had blossomed into something much bigger than he had ever anticipated. With the success of his first center, Jaxon received offers to open more branches in other parts of the city, and even in neighboring towns. He carefully expanded, ensuring that the heart of his mission, providing accessible education, remained at the core of everything he did. Jaxon also began to offer vocational courses, helping individuals not only learn English, but also acquire practical skills to improve their employment prospects. Suraj, the young boy who had been one of Jackson's first students, was one of the first to benefit from these new programs. Now a young man, Suraj had become fluent in English and was working at a local tech company. In his free time, he volunteered at Hope Academy, teaching the very same lessons that had once helped him transform his life. Jaxon couldn't have been prouder. Suraj was a living testament to the power of education and perseverance. As Hope Academy continued to grow, so did Jackson's family. Mia and Jaxon welcomed their first child, a baby girl they named Ariane, into their lives. Parenthood brought Jaxon a new kind of joy and responsibility. He wanted to create a world where his daughter could grow up surrounded by love, learning, and endless possibilities. He and Mia worked hard to balance their family life with their shared dedication to the community. One day, while sitting with his mother and Emma, Jaxon reflected on how far they had come. His mother, once so frail and grieving, now beamed with pride every time she spoke about her son's accomplishments. Emma had grown into a confident and brilliant young woman, now studying at university with dreams of becoming a teacher herself. She wanted to follow in Jackson's footsteps, inspired by how he had changed so many lives through education. Jackson's mother reached for his hand and said, "Your father and brother would be so proud of you, Jaxon. You've given us more than we ever could have imagined." Tears welled up in Jackson's eyes as he squeezed his mother's hand. "I did it for all of us, Mom. For Dad, for Ben, and for everyone who believed in me. But I couldn't have done it without your support." Life wasn't without its challenges, even with all the success. There were times when the pressure of managing multiple centers, raising a family, and maintaining his personal studies felt overwhelming. But Jaxon had learned to lean on the people around him, his family, Mia, and the community he had built through Hope Academy. He understood now more than ever that success wasn't a solitary achievement. It was a collective effort, built on love, trust, and mutual support. Years later, Jaxon stood at the front of a large gathering, addressing hundreds of people at an event to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Hope Academy. The audience was filled with current and former students, teachers, volunteers, and members of the community who had all been touched by Jackson's work. Mia sat in the front row with Ariane and their second child, a boy named Ethan, by her side. Jackson's mother and Emma were also there, beaming with pride. Jaxon spoke from the heart, sharing the story of his journey, from the boy who had once felt lost and hopeless, to the man who had dedicated his life to helping others find their way. He spoke about the importance of perseverance, the power of education, and the belief that no matter where you start in life, you can always rise above your circumstances. "To everyone here," Jaxon said, his voice filled with emotion, "I want to thank you for being a part of this journey. Hope Academy was built on the idea that no one should be left behind, Every single one of you has contributed to making this dream a reality, and together we've shown that with hope and hard work, we can change the world, one person at a time. The crowd erupted into applause, and Jackson looked out over the sea of faces, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. His life had been filled with hardship, but it had also been filled with love, purpose, and triumph. He had kept his promise to his mother, to his father and brother, and to himself. He had built something that would outlast him, something that would continue to change lives for generations to come. As the applause died down, Jackson glanced over at Mia and their children, his heart swelling with pride and happiness. He had created not only a legacy for his family, but also a legacy of hope for everyone who had ever faced adversity. His journey was far from over, but in that moment Jackson knew he had already achieved more than he had ever dreamed possible. And with that thought, he smiled, ready for whatever the future would bring.